The sun is probably one of the most blatantly obvious yet enigmatic beings in our solar system. For the general population, most of us only know the sun as something that rises in the east and gives us light and gives us warmth. We don't really know what the sun is or how the sun interacts with us on a day to day basis apart from that. Now, granted, there's been a multitude of research from NASA about solar coronas and solar winds and how all these things affect us on Earth, but for the general population, most of this information pretty much just flies over our heads. And part of the reason for this is because of the complicated technicality of astronomy. So, what I mean by this is if I were to ask a random person on the street, did you know that the solar coronas from the sun could reach near light speed values as they fly off the sun? And if they were to impact the Earth, they could cause catastrophic damage to wireless communication towers. Did you know that? The answer would probably be no, because most of this information and research that's been done and is currently being done on the sun is hard to access, and if not hard to access, hard to understand by the general population. And that's the challenge that me and my team Area 51 face today. How do we take all this complicated research currently being done and condense it into a manner that's easily understandable for the general population? And how we've decided to do that is we've decided to create a website visualization aimed at allowing the general public to visualize easily how and what these solar probes around the sun currently operate and do. Now, if you look at the webpage, you'll see that we currently have three of NASA's solar probes: the Parker Solar Probe, the Stereo A, and the OSIRIS REx orbiting around the sun. We plan to expand this to include more, but for the time being, if the user were to click on any of these probes, the user would be able to view additional information on these probes, and the user would also be able to see the speed at which this probe orbits around the sun, as well as the size of the probe and the distance of the probe from the sun. We think that this is very important because for the general public, having a better understanding of, how far does a probe have to be from the sun to be safe and yet effectively view the sun, or how fast does a probe actually orbit the sun? All these are very simple questions, yet very meaningful in helping the general public visualize how these probes actually work. We also have a social media dashboard on the left where users will be able to easily tweet on social media about the sun and about solar probes, as well as view tweets from others about solar probes, building a sense of community and awareness. And we also have on the right a dashboard for updates from each probe. And we hope to be able to update this with live feed from each satellite, as well as live images captured by each solar probe, so that users would be able to see in real time um, what these satellites are actually seeing themselves. And of course, if the user was more interested, they could click more info and they will come to a page that shows them the background and context of each satellite. But the main goal and what we hope to achieve is we hope to make this information more easily accessible and understood to the general population, especially and most importantly to the younger generation. We think that in order to fully cultivate and inspire more interest in astronomy, it would be a great help if the younger generation was able to really visualize in the back of their minds, currently in space, there's already all these efforts going on. And if they better understood what all these efforts already were, they could better appreciate them and also think, hey, someday in the future, I might want to contribute to these efforts. There's already so much being gone on in space about the solar system. It's no longer an abnormally or an enigma. We're here and we can find out more about space. And that's the kind of concept and mentality that we want to give to the general public. Thank you.